The following program is rated TV MAL, TV MALS, TV MALSV. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
It's Halloween. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
No!
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 Hey, what is going on, everybody? Justin Proper here. I am very excited about tonight's live stream. We are going to be talking Halloween Ends, and I was on a stream last night where I got a lot of my anger out, a lot of a lot of my pure emotions out that I've been bottling up for the past 4 or 5 days, and I'm sure that we're all going to have a great, productive conversation. I don't know where everybody stands on the movie, but
I'm sitting.
I know. Okay, I get it. But for the first time, it is so nice to meet you, Killjoy Jake. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing better now that you're here, and I'm glad that we have come to the consensus of Halloween Ends. You may, and you know what? Today you say you know instead of having friends, you have horror movies. Today you have friends. So.
Well, good. I forgot my bunny suit. I'm so sorry. But I do have my cool beanie, so I'm ready for that.
Oh yeah. I am rocking a beanie too, which I rarely do. I don't enjoy wearing them as much, but it is cold outside, so I figured, what the hell. And what is going on, PB? How you doing?
Oh, not much. I feel like I'm in a better mood than the two of you two.
Really?
Especially with what we're going to talk about.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. And how are you doing, Zod? I know you're on the way home from work.
I'm doing great. I went to work, and then I'm doing this stream where, thank God, I'm not on an island anymore amongst you guys. And then I'm going back for a pre-screener of Black Adam. So super excited. If you guys know, I'm a huge DC fan, and everyone has their anticipated movies, and I didn't really think about it. But yeah, it's been Black Adam since like last year because they delayed it like 4 times. So if this movie doesn't meet my hopes and dreams, I might find Hamada in the gang because this was under him. So fingers crossed. But I've heard some promising things. Unfortunately, some idiot ruined a leak for me. So there's something cool that's supposed to happen. And if it's true, I think it's a new day for DC. So great times ahead.
You know what killed my hopes and dreams? Halloween Ends. It ended all of them. But hyperbole aside, I don't want to go right off the bat talking about the specifics on the movie yet. I understand it's been a week, almost a week. Some people haven't seen it. I'd like to start with Jake. I know you have talked about this movie ad nauseum over like probably 48 hours worth of streaming about this movie. Briefly, if you could tell me what was your raw reaction coming out of it?
I was pretty disappointed. I was just really shocked that they would make the choices that they made. I don't know. I wasn't really big on this one. I feel like they kind of subverted everything I was expecting them to do, and they didn't do that. In some cases, that's a good thing. This case, they decided to completely copy the movie Christine beat by beat. And I'm all about taking things in a new direction. I'm all about taking things down weird paths and all that. This is the franchise to do that. They've done it multiple times in the past. But to me, it's like an undeniable plagiarism, borderline movie of something else we've already seen. So I don't know. I'm just not getting the attraction to this one, and I guess I was just pretty disappointed with it.
Understood. I'm sort of, I know I'm on the same page. We are so eye to eye on this movie. It's not even funny. I think you might hate this more than I do. Maybe, maybe we'll see. And the reason why I was kind of like, oh my gosh, you hated this movie. And this was before I got to see it. I was like, uh-oh, he hated it. Oh gosh. And Jake,
yeah, if you guys don't know, Killjoy Jake is He's the nicest reviewer on YouTube. I have never seen him use the word trash for any other movie before. And I've been watching his channel now for a while. And I went, oh, damn. Like, this was personal.
It felt very personal. I felt personally, I felt attacked by David Gordon Green with this one. No, I'm kidding. But I don't know. I don't know, man. That's all I got for it. I got that one word, trash. That's about it.
Well, I was once a member of the marching band, so this hit me personally on multiple levels.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
So
That
PB,
explains so much, Justin.
yeah. I will get to that, but let's just say not all of us band geeks are like that. So there we go. PB, what were your initial thoughts? I have
You
not
were
heard them
actually good at being a bully?
yet. What? I never really partook in it. Yeah, let me get what were your thoughts on it? I haven't heard what you thought of it.
Well, one, I've never seen Christine before, so nothing was plagiarized to me.
If you haven't seen it,
That's
it didn't exist.
valid point.
He said it was like another movie. I was like, I don't even know what this movie is, so it worked for me. I didn't come out of it as upset as you two were. Like, I wasn't as happy as I could have been, but I still came out enjoying my time and not being pissed off. So to me, that's a positive. I don't have a very raw reaction. I was just like, oh, that was good.
That's interesting. This is going to be a very interesting conversation then. I don't know, Jake. You've had panels with a bunch of people. Have some
Did they
of them
all hate
liked
it?
Did they all hate it?
No, I've talked to a few people who like it, and I get a lot of their points. Like I've seen a few reviewers talk about why they like it. And a lot of these are coming from reviews from people who, like, once again, really like the weirder side of this franchise. And it's one of those things where, like, I respect people's opinions. You know, we all take different things away from movies. I just, like, for me personally, I just felt it was like a little way too close to that movie, and that's why I didn't love it. I'm all about paying homage to things that you love all day, every day, but just straight up, like, taking where is the line? You know, where's the line when it's like you're just plagiarizing something, you're just stealing something from something else and implementing it into your thing. This to me crosses that personal line.
Oh, okay. It's more the plagiarism part that upsets
I
you.
need to know more about this plagiarism.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll certainly get into that. Zod, I know we've talked about this, so I'm curious, what were your initial raw reactions coming out of it?
Okay, so I'm going to come in hot on this, and this isn't necessarily directed towards Jake, because Jake's one of the few logical people that I talk to, which is why I talk to him on YouTube. But
Hey.
I've heard some, and trust me, that's high praise. I'm a jerk to a lot of people, so I'm so glad that he gets what I'm saying. But I don't get the hate from I told Justin, and I stand by this. I told Justin I completely understand if the way it was marketed. Like, I get the reason why people are upset. But saying this was worse than Resurrection, you got to be pretty high to make that statement. Like, have you seen? I recently rewatched Resurrection, and I go, no, I don't see it. I don't see how this is worse than Curse of the Thorn and that garbage storyline. Like, let's be real. Yes, was it bad in the context of this trilogy? Yeah, it was weird. A lot of weird, and we'll talk about that. A lot of weird decisions were made. But is it straight up worse than the worst of this franchise? Not even by half a mile. Like, they're not even in the same league. Like, when I think of disrespectful or blatant rip-offs or cash grabs, I think Resurrection, because when you look how that movie was made, they put in Buster Rhymes, the worst actor on God's green earth. I love his music, but he's a terrible actor. And that was made a year or a couple of years, it was a year after H2O when Jamie Lee Curtis said she was done. Now, you had a perfect out with cutting off his head. But instead, greedy corporations and all of these people said, nah, he didn't cut off his head. He strangled someone and then came back. Blah. Like, that to me is a bad movie. This is misguided. Like, look, what I think happened was they took a pretty interesting idea, which would have been a decent movie by itself. And they didn't have a way to get to the last half hour of this film. And people telling me that it's a 5-minute fight, that's horseshit. I timed it. It's a half hour.
No, that is incorrect.
Yes, it is.
I timed it. It was from the 91-minute
correct.
mark to the 99-minute mark. I timed it. It's 8 minutes.
Dude, I have
minutes.
Peacock. I will go on Peacock right now, and I will get the numbers on as soon as I get home because I don't want to crack.
You got an 8-minute fight out of some old fucks, and you ain't happy with it.
No, no, I'm not.
Like,
God damn,
like
man. They've been doing it for 40 fucking years, and they gave you 8 solid fucking minutes. You're like, this is trash.
I don't even necessarily think that it's just straight trash by itself. And now I think we could get into it, but no, if the rest of the movie had earned its place, that would have been fine. But it's just the execution of it. It's how we get from point A to point B. And if we waste our time with a random person who we've never met before, and then what does it lead to? Nothing. It's pointless. There's no redemption arc. Then yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, it didn't earn it, and it made me mad. You know, so
well, like I was saying,
I was disappointed. So,
but like I was saying, I think that I think people would be having a different discussion. Like I said, structurally is where this falls apart for me. Had this character maybe been introduced in one of the movies, then would we all be having the same discussion? Probably not, because we would have been like, oh yeah, we know Corey.
I agree
yes,
with
Everybody's got a problem with Corey.
Not necessarily. Well, it's his placement. I think it's his placement within.
What do you mean his placement?
His trilogy.
Is
Because
that
if he
not a-
was,
is that okay? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that if they had subtle clues like they did with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, where they had such attention to detail, they prided themselves in their attention to detail, and little characters that kind of like even in the background, like the nurse and the doctor, they're in the second one, they're actually in it and not just background characters. Little things like that. The cinematography was excellent. You could watch it back to back and it would almost flow as one movie. And it felt like Kills, while it has its shortcomings, didn't feel out of place with 2018, what was established. And there were character arcs, there was character development, there were redemption arcs that I absolutely loved. And so when you have this one that just comes out of left field, yeah, it's going to feel jarring, out of place. And I admire when I looked back at it, I was like, okay, they did sort of have that attention to detail, but focused in the wrong places. And I admire what they did. I appreciate it. And I hated it. I mean, I did say before that, I've had colonoscopies that have sucked less ass than this movie, but I mean,
that seems harsh.
I think that's now a little too harsh. It's the false advertisement that I didn't appreciate. It was the marketing. It usually is. They they only revealed, Jake, I know you watched all of them. I stopped after a while. I'm like, I can't do this to myself. I stopped because I didn't want to know about any of the movie. I didn't want it to be spoiled, but I don't think they showed anything with Corey in it, really. Did they?
In
The
which
marketing.
movie? Oh, in the marketing.
Well, Halloween Ends.
Yeah. So for the marketing, that's my big thing about it too. I mean, they did just kind of advertised this thing as being like the final battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and the last, like you said, 8 minutes is only about that, and it feels tacked on. It feels like they wanted to focus on something new, do something else, and then they decided, okay, let's wrap this story up. And to me, I just feel like now it renders a lot of things in Halloween Kills just completely useless. And that's my biggest problem with it. Yeah. I just wish that if David Gordon Green, who is a self-proclaimed huge fan of Season of the Witch, I just wish they would have ended the story in Halloween 2018, and then maybe he gets to do 2 more movies where it's like their own thing, because clearly he didn't want to tell this big story across 3 movies. I just wish they would have been like, okay, now Halloween, whatever the next thing is, after 18 is going to be a brand new story, and the same with the next one. It's going to be like this anthology of horror, just like John Carpenter's original idea. That would have been fine. I would have been fine with that, personally. I think there's so many things set up in Kills that go nowhere now. All of Hawkins' backstory is rendered completely useless by Halloween Ends. And Lindsay Wallace surviving Halloween Kills, completely pointless. Like, I don't know why she was in this movie, and it's a shame. They wasted Kyle Richards, I don't know.
She was demoted to a barmaid.
Right. Right.
Why did they do that? And Hawkins, he had a couple cute moments with Lori, but I was just like, what happened?
So I take it you're not a fan of cherry blossoms.
No, not anymore.
I love cherry blossoms, but in this, I don't know. Like, because they set up Hawkins to, be the one to take him down, and I would have been fine with it because he failed to do so the first time.
What do you mean they set him up to? Whoa! You think they set Hawkins up to take him down?
Yes. When Halloween Kills. What would be the point of all those flashbacks, seeing that backstory, if it wasn't going to pay off?
The entire fucking trilogy is built off of flashbacks. The whole fucking thing
but
is
they
built
have meaning.
Flashbacks.
They all
what
have
meaning?
Well,
It's like all the flashbacks are as, hey, you remember this?
They're not all member berries. Come
what's
on.
happening right now?
No, I agree with PB because to prep myself.
Just by the way, I just want to set this precedent.
We're going to be like, hey,
hold on, fellas.
I rewatched Halloween Kills, which you can see on Peacock, and I knew there was a reason why I have that shitty service. I rewatched Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, just in case any debates came up. So I came fully prepared. First off, everybody who says Allison was such a great character, you're liars. I rewatched the trilogy. She has no arc, okay? 2018, she's a stupid teen. Halloween Kills, she gets people killed, and she's a stupid teen. Halloween Ends is the only time, if we're arguing, that she actually has a purpose to the story. Now, look, you might not like that purpose. I'm not even co-signing it's the greatest move in the world. But if we're talking about character development specifically for that character, she has more of an arc here than she had in the past 2 movies. Because to be quite honest with you, I don't know what the hell she was doing in the rest of them. Think about it. 2018, who kills Michael Myers? It's Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter and her. And then the stepdaughter gets her, or the granddaughter gets her little stabs in and they throw him down. But it's mostly the daughter and Jamie Lee Curtis. In the second movie, it is Jamie Lee Curtis. Or no, it's who I can't even remember what happened. He somebody else took him out. Okay.
Okay. Well, Zod, then, at any rate, I just want to make it very clear. This is not a debate. We're just no one's right, no one's wrong. We're just discussing it.
Oh yeah, we're just passionate people.
Yeah. Jake, we might banter back and forth, but it's just movie talk. I imagine you do this all the time where you're just like, what? Wait, how does that make sense and stuff? I imagine you have that all the time.
Yeah. And listen, everyone's got an opinion. We just got to be respectful of that. I just personally, Zod, I disagree just because I feel like 2018 is all about Allison and like her entire arc. And it's kind of like the passing of the torch thing in that movie. I will agree with you on Kills, though. They kind of put her off to the side a little more in that movie. But then I would argue that in Ends, they put her off to the side even more by reducing her character down to just a love interest. That's another huge thing I was upset with this movie.
Whoa.
Was that the only purpose she serves is to be in love with Corey Cunningham. She's reduced from this epic final girl like how she was in 2018 all the way down to a side character that serves hardly any purpose.
I will say just before we go off of that, because that's good. Thank you, Big Raj, for the thumbs up super sticker. I really appreciate that. I don't want to do the same thing that I do on Thursdays with the clip. I'll do it at the end. But
is that Canadian money?
Yes, it is. Yeah. What's wrong with Canada?
That's a couple loonies right there.
You're insulting a super chatter?
No, that's what they're called.
That's what they're called.
Loonies.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, we're
They got,
cultured here.
they got loons on the coin, guy.
Roger,
This is
I
a
don't
very
think you're.
cultured
I don't
chat.
think you're a lunatic. Thank
Nobody
you very
thinks that
much. I
Roger's a
appreciate it.
lunatic.
I appreciate the
I think
super
Roger's
sticker.
awesome.
I really do. And
What's
thank
up,
you to
minions?
everybody who's stopping by. There's a lot of new faces here. Tani's here. Carpenter didn't want it to be just one killer. Which one? In Ends? I don't know. Was that a
No,
Carpenter
and
decision?
and Carpenter's original pitch, actually, that's a great point. Thank you. He did not. He had the idea of having two killers, and being that Carpenter collaborated with Green, it's kind of interesting that in this movie we do get that two killer pitch. Like, look, here's the thing. And this is why I like talking with you guys, because when you talk to hardcore Halloween fans, they get really passionate, I'm going to say, about it, and you can't have an intelligent conversation. I'm like, look, I'm not saying you guys are wrong, okay? I told Justin, he's my witness. I called him up, and he said, what's your rating? And I go, Justin. He goes, thumbs up, Justin. I go, Justin, I can't give you a rating. I don't know how I feel. It's the first movie I saw this year.
God.
I came out and I said, this is going to piss off a lot of people. I don't know where I land. I think that as a movie, from how I review things, cinematography, music, the opening, even the shocking beginning with that kid, I thought that was hilarious.
That was really well done. I thought
that was, it was
great opening scene.
It was well crafted. The issue is that a lot of people, and my personal issue is structure. Like, this was my plan. If you had Allison fight what's his face? If you had Allison take on Corey, I think Halloween fans would be less upset, because then that arc has a purpose and it helps her character growth. So if you make a little adjustment, I think, and you have it that, oh, we introduced him so Allison could have her own like little arc, and you have Jamie Lee Curtis take on OG Michael, you have her take out Corey, and then it's like this thing like she has to take out the person she loves. And then you have that emotional payoff. I think, once again, we're all having a different conversation.
Okay.
Maybe it doesn't land with everyone, but it makes sense. Now, where it loses me is him killing himself, because my only gripe with this whole storyline out of everybody is, okay, I enjoyed this for an hour and a half, but then you reduce it to if I can't have you, no one else can.
Oh no!
I haven't.
You know
That
what?
to
You know
me
what?
was the weakest part of this movie, because
You
I'm
know
like,
what?
you
Stuff
made
like-
that whole character useless. And I was enjoying, to be honest, I was enjoying the direction, because I'm a fan of Christine. Yes, I get your reference. I don't think it's a direct ripoff, because, you know, Car, but that's probably a debate for another day.
no.
But I get what you're saying. Like, it's heavily, we'll say heavily inspired by Christine. But at the same time, I think it was an interesting direction. But where you lose the average moviegoer, or someone like myself, is like, okay, you took me on this journey. I'm locked in. I don't have a problem with Corey. I thought he was well acted. The actor, at the very least, did a very good job.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
So
it's
you
rarely,
got me
rarely in these
hooked.
movies that we complain about do we ever complain about the acting. The acting is
Oh,
usually
yeah.
good. It's always the writing, the script, and where the story takes us is where I take issue. So, and I really hope that nobody is going out and sending death threats to Rohan Campbell. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, guys. We're
Yeah,
better
don't be
than
that
that.
guy. Come
That's
on.
the actor's name.
Yeah, Rohan Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna call him Corey.
Oh, the whole time. No, you can't have the
I
context of the movie.
was like,
hey, yeah,
see you like in a convention. Hey, Corey, how you doing?
yeah, Corey in the house. Yeah, all of those jokes. I will say, when you brought up the dialogue, Zod, that's another thing that I had a problem with. There are so many. Well, first off, there's the humor is gone. There is no sense of fun, and I don't appreciate that. It's like they kicked Danny McBride out of the room. I was not like, look, but when you have dialogue that replaces that with, oh, what was the line? I had it written down. It was like, we'll burn it all down, burn it to the ground. I'll light the match. I'm like, oh, this is some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard in a movie since Peanut Butter on My Penis.
I will raise you every line in She-Hulk.
I'm not.
That's
we're
the
not
worst
talking
dialogue
about
I've ever
that.
heard. After you come off of it, okay, and look, I'm gonna be
I get
honest.
it.
Like I said, my perception of this movie might be skewed because I saw this after the final of She-Hulk. So I might be highly rating this because every other thing would have been better. And I saw it directly after I saw She-Hulk. So I might have a warped perception, but I did rewatch it. And yes, it doesn't flow as well, but the dialogue I didn't have an issue with. I thought that was a very symbolic thing, especially considering that he literally does burn something down. So it's not like
that radio tower, like all of those poor fans
dialogue
talking about the radio tower theory. All of those poor fans who are like, yes, the radio tower is so important. And then
I felt bad for Jake because he had the best theories and none of them were.
Did you now?
Sorry, man.
Were you a part of the radio tower theory, people?
I had no, not really. I didn't think it was going to be like Colonel Cochran's coming back from Season of the Witch or something. But
right.
No, I had some theories about like maybe that would be a location for like the final battle or something along those lines. It was just such a significant shot in Kills. They focused on it so much. Obviously, that's where a lot of this is coming from. But where it went in Ends, I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I feel like it hurts the movie that they burnt this down because at the end of the film, we see the entire town of Haddonfield getting together. Why wouldn't they have just had the radio host or somebody get over the intercom and be like, Michael Myers is back. We have him chained up. We're going to throw him in the car or something. I thought that's where it was going the whole time. And when they burn it down, I'm like, what was the point of that? It's almost like they had that idea at one point and then they threw it out, forgot that they were setting all that up for the ending, and then just did something else. It just felt very rushed to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, they had years to come up with a good story, especially because they already had kills in the bag for the most part. That wasn't changing. So yeah, I'm curious as to what that other film was, whatever their ideas were. Was it worse? Was it better? Was it supposed to take place on the same night? I'll find out. But I would like to shift gears a little bit. To what are some? What's up?
So, if you're watching Transformers, this is an analogy.
Oh God.
You have Optimus Prime, right? That's Laurie Strode going against Megatron, which is Michael Myers, right?
Yep.
So, do you or do you not want Optimus Prime to take out Starscream? Like, I don't
really like Transformers.
That's not the point. That's not the point. I want Optimus Prime to take out all these motherfuckers because I don't give a fuck who Bumblebee can beat up.
Oh, okay. All right. I kind of see your point.
That's why she takes out, but well, she doesn't really take out the Corey kid. He takes himself out, but
and Michael finishes the deed. Yes. Unceremoniously, may I add. I know, Jake, you really wanted to have him just be completely messed up in this afterwards.
I was very confused on how to feel about Corey the entire movie. The first act made me want to... I felt like I wanted to like him at the first act. Then the second act, I kind of hated him. And then in the third act, he does what he does. And I just felt that was really unsatisfying, considering that the movie was maybe trying to tell me that I hated this character, but I couldn't tell. Like, I think if that was the point, that had to be the most unsatisfying ending to a character's arc ever. And maybe if Michael Myers had came in there and just, like, stabbed the crap out of him, that would have been awesome. That would have been really satisfying to see, because he's clearly, I think he's clearly a character that you're supposed to hate. But once again, I don't know. To me, I didn't like him. So I'm like, I really wanted to have this big grand death for him, similar to Cameron's death from Kills. That would have been fucking sick, I think. But
yeah, that was brutal. That was a brutal to watch. And I miss those. Oh my gosh, the kills in this, so underwhelming. 3 or 4 of them off screen. With the few that we had, off screen, the blowtorch to the marching band.
Oh, it was blurred.
Yes, you couldn't. You didn't even see it. We, of all the people, like I kind of wanted to see that one. I mean, we had one good one with the DJ, one good one, and that was it. And that made me mad. Like the last
I
film
gotta say
was guts and gore galore, if you will. It made me very satisfied. I even thought 2018 when I first saw it, I was like, the kills were a little underwhelming in this one. Nope. Kills stepped up its game, and
Yes,
it was
it did.
fantastic. And I loved all of it. And on top of that, some of the people that were killed in 2018 in Kills, I actually liked. I didn't want to see Big John and Little John be killed. I didn't necessarily want to see Karen be killed. I didn't want to see her husband be killed either. I wanted them to, be happy. I know sacrifices need to be made.
I hated Karen. So
okay,
two
fine.
broke up. I just.
That's
okay,
fine.
I know it's an unpopular opinion because for some reason everybody likes Karen, but the more I rewatched and went back through, like, she was kind of brought it on herself. Jamie Lee Curtis had been calling it the whole time. Like, when your mother is armed like Sarah Connor in a shed.
Whoa. She is armed better than Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor did not make a Terminator trap. She drove to the foundry.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, so see, she was armed better. And it's kind of like, I don't like characters that are written purposefully naive until it's like, oh, this person really does exist. So I did not like Karen. The really, to be honest, if we're putting our cards on the table, the only good characters appeared for me in Halloween Kills. I like Big John, Little John. I even like the ridiculous bartender guy because it's like he was so melodramatic. Like, I liked that over the top. The door kill is going to be a classic in this franchise. That is like that. Yeah. I don't think any movie will top that because it's so hilarious in the way that it's shown. I don't even know if that's supposed to be purposely funny. But that was hilarious.
And that's what made me more upset about this movie, Halloween Ends, is that none of the characters that were killed, I didn't give a fuck about except for Michael. Like, and Michael was done dirty. So that's a problem with me in horror movies. I know you want to have bodies, but I also want to care about some of them. That bothers me. That really does, and it was very disappointing in that regard. Like, and they weren't even that good. They were all characters I hated, and none of the kills except for one actually was well done. I don't think they let the makeup department do enough work. They were like probably sitting there bored, like just like, well, I guess we're not working again today. And that sucks because these guys are great at their jobs when they're allowed to go full out. But maybe there's some deleted scenes that maybe we'll show it more. I don't know why it would have been cut, but I don't know, man. That just really pissed me off. And also retconning Sandra's light bulb death was kind of a problem for me as well in this movie.
Did she die?
No, she was in this film. She was in all three of them.
No. I'm saying, do you see the light go out of her eyes in the scene where she gets stabbed in the throat with the fluorescent light bulb?
Actually, looking back, I guess not.
But that's what I thought, because then when I seen her wheel up,
I know, but what it leads to is her sister bitching at Laurie and victim blaming, and Haddonfield's full of victim blamers, and I wasn't a big fan of that. Like, why are you mad at Laurie? Like, Laurie didn't do this to you. Michael did this. Why is it her fault?
I got another question. How many other movies in all of Halloween does he not actually kill the person who he attempts to kill?
I mean, if I'm going back, I think he's pretty successful in all of them. Like, they make it pretty definitive.
I'm saying, is he 100% other than obviously Laurie?
Yeah. I want to say he's got a pretty good track record. I can't think of anyone who escapes that isn't supposed to be the final person, and that's going through all of them in my head.
The more difficult question is, if you went back and watched all those scenes, did they stick around long enough for you to guarantee that you saw a dead body? Because we're all pretty sure that this chick died in the previous movie, and they're like, no, we're going to make it a thing.
Well, anything can happen. I mean, Hawkins didn't die in the first one, so
I feel like they did that though because Sartain was the one to stab him in the neck. There's that element to it, and there's also so they kind of retconned him being a killer. But moving forward past that, they also set up all this backstory with him immediately right from the get go with kills, which once again goes nowhere. I don't understand why they went through all that arduous process of like recreating 1978 essentially to tell all this story about this character, and then once again just doesn't go anywhere in the next film. That was the biggest that and the Christine stuff are the two biggest disappointments of the film for me.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point with Hawkins. That was probably one of the most disappointing things too. But I was trying to get earlier. I'm curious, Jake, what we've been talking trash about this movie, but I want to know what did you enjoy about this film? Did you get some sort of joy out of any bit? I know there are some that you've highlighted, but I'm curious. You know, what did you like?
I've seen it 3 times now because I just needed to. I think the first time I was in disbelief, disbelief walking out of the theaters. But I've watched it twice on Peacock now. And I think what I've noticed is, like you said, the cinematography I think is gorgeous. The acting is pretty good. I love the opening scene. I love like that with the DJ kill. I think is awesome with the tongue on the vinyl. Yeah. That's really well done. There are some good elements, like there are good elements to the movie, you know, like it's not awful. It's definitely, like you said, Zod, it's not worse than Resurrection. I personally ranked it above 5 and Resurrection. I think it's definitely better than those films. But I don't know. There's just not much else to write about, I don't think. Like, even the junkyard scene, which is like supposed to be the super climactic, big, crazy killing sequence, that even feels underwhelming compared to Kills. You know what I mean? Like, we're fresh off of that. And then you show us this, like you said, most of it's either blurred or off screen. And it's just like, I just don't feel like this epic music that I'm hearing right now, one of the coolest songs on the entire soundtrack, it doesn't match what's happening on screen. And I feel that way about a lot of this movie. I don't know.
Yeah, and speaking of the music, there was a lack of Carpenter music throughout. There was multiple times where there was random garage band songs that were in there. I'm like, why? This song is terrible, one. And two, I don't understand the point of that, being used multiple times. I don't get it. Why did they seem like they sidelined Michael? They sidelined the music. I don't get it. It didn't feel as inspired as the other two movies, especially 2018. I mean, that soundtrack, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. It was amazing. All the different pieces that felt like it could be within the Halloween universe, but they were also new and original. It's just, there was so much going for that. And then Kills, they didn't have it as much, but I was like, okay, all right, but it's still good. And then this one, barely had it in it. I felt like, I don't get that.
Towards the end, a little bit, but yeah. Besides that, it did feel very empty, and that was such a big positive, especially for the 2018 film. Like when Allison sees the shape for the first time. That's an obvious example, but there are so many good little moments of the score that goes throughout there, and I think John Carpenter's touch is another thing that adds so much weight to this, and I think that's why I was expecting such a big finale because of how good these past 2 movies have been. I know some people crap on Kills, but it's still a Halloween movie at the end of the day and still continues the story from the previous film. And the big thing I disagree on is there is a lot of plot stuff going on in Kills in between all of the massive segments of the kill sequences. And that's a big thing I really appreciate about the movie, even if it kind of ends on it kind of falls apart in the ending. But that's about it. That's really the only big problem I have with that last film.
Yeah, was the ending, because that's something that I bitched and complained about too. I was like, what happened? Like, what happened there? Why doesn't anybody see when the door, I think, is wide open, when everyone's sitting on the porch and Karen goes upstairs? No one sees Michael Cohen up there. Like, no one is
but Jamie
in
Lee
the
Curtis
house, like taking the
movie.
body of Cameron out of it. Like, no,
They're ninjas.
Like, and how does he escape? None of this is answered, and he ends up in a sewer for 4 years, and maybe he killed somebody, maybe he doesn't.
Watched the other Halloween movies? Michael Myers he's like Jason or anybody else. They have the ability, play Dead by Dawn. It's this ability called Shadow, where they could just disappear, and then they wind up right behind you. That's just the rules. Carpenter and them came up with it. I don't question the rules. I've just determined they're part ninja. Like, I like it, but no, I get what you're saying. But
Yeah,
I mean,
like the other two movies prided itself more in realism and had nothing to do with the supernatural stuff or any of the Thor and stuff.
he still disappeared and reappeared in those movies. There were like 3 scenes where he just is like a perfect example when the kids are running and the lights are going on and off. And as the light goes off, he disappears, moves closer when the light comes back on. That ain't natural. I tried it. Doesn't work.
Outside.
I'm still there.
It's dark.
So, like, there is some kind of hit. Like, yes, it's not overtly touched on, but you know, he's got that serial killer ninja training. They all have. I don't know. Laurie Strode did it in this movie. Remember, she was in the chair rocking back, and then just disappeared.
I didn't get that.
I see what you did.
I thought it was a hallucination. Honestly, when I first saw it, I didn't get it.
These are Batman rules. Just get on board.
Like, yeah, Bruce Wayne does it all the time. Come on.
Right, but obviously, PB and Zod, you both you like this movie more than we did. What were some positives that maybe we might agree on it, maybe we won't? I'm curious. What did you enjoy about it? You touched on it a little bit.
I mean,
you want to go first, PB? Because I can
feel
just go
like,
on all day.
you're gonna go on for another hour. Oh my god.
I like to talk.
It's been a good conversation, though.
No, I would agree with Jake. I feel like my favorite scene from the entire movie is the opening scene. Because first of all, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, is this happening in real time? Or is this some flashback that just doesn't look flashbacky? Or what's going on here? Like, who are we creating? Because like you said, I didn't know who this guy was. I was like, I just watched the previous 2 movies the day before. And then I went and saw this movie and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then he kills that fucking kid, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
I will say, I will
that
say,
kid, that kid.
Yeah. What about it?
Yeah, that kid's an asshole. He had it coming.
Yeah, that's
right. Okay, so the story is about since Michael Myers can't do anymore. Like he's too old and he's going to die, so he's got to radicalize somebody else
by looking into his eyes
of how easily you can be radicalized with just a little bit of push from some other direction that you weren't expecting, and that was the dumb redhead.
And I will give you a perfect line that goes along with this, and we've all heard this before, so stop me if you've never heard this one, but I'm sure you'll guess it.
Oh no.
I'm just an agent of chaos. Okay, I'm like a dog chasing a bone. I just do. All it takes is one bad day. Yes, the Joker said it. It holds true. The reason why I like this plot is because, okay, yes, I get it. Structurally, it doesn't make sense. But if you look, even if you try to find a narrow thread between Kills 2018 and now this one, the thread is evil. How easy it is for evil to not only destroy the victims, but pass along victims, and how hysteria and all that stuff. Yes.
There's they made an entire trilogy of Star Wars movies, and there are 0 threads in any of them. And you're just complaining about one movie not having enough threads to the previous one?
Yes, I hold David Gordon Green to a high standard. Sorry about that. I don't know.
I thought that you're a Ryan Johnson fan.
Not with Star Wars. I'll leave it at that.
Not with Star Wars. I didn't realize
if it's good, I'll praise it to the high heavens. If I don't like it, I will boo and throw my popcorn at the screen. All that stuff that I'm feeling internally. But I will give you this though, with the story of.
I was finishing my point.
The
thread.
All right.
The thread was, because this is important, because I feel like this gets lost in translation, and I'm not blaming the people watching this, because it took me 2 or 3 times to watch this, and maybe you got it and you just think they delivered it stupid, which is fair enough. But the thread here is evil. The idea that evil is infectious in some kind of a way. And if we're talking societally, it does kind of make sense. There's no rhyme or reason. I just watched a whole series about Dahmer. Me and you talked about it. Magnificent series, delivered a lot better. But that's not the point. The point is it shows that tipping scale. And look at most serial killers, most people who go crazy. There is not a logical reason in evil and when it manifests. Like, there's things we can bring up, there's clues, there's pointers, and there is in Corey's character. The catalyst is him accidentally killing the kid. And I say accidentally because it was completely that little shit's fault. So that is the starting point. Then the isolation, right? And what do Michael Myers and him have in common? They both killed people that were younger. They both
Halloween
were
masks.
isolated. Michael Myers in an institution, Corey by the town. There's parallels there between these two characters. So when you see someone who has this presence like Michael Myers, it would be very easy for someone with a susceptible mind to be
It
taken
wasn't a
in
present.
by
He
that.
stole the Halloween mask
force.
from him. It wasn't a present.
But yeah, you can, even if you're going with if you want to put that weird,
I'm just
ghost thing that
with
they
you.
do. Yeah, there's like, just imagine meeting, to me, in that scene, Michael Myers, Jim Jones, Corey, one of those weird followers, right? Just taken in because everybody else rejected him. Allison's place makes sense because she's the only good thread trying to pull him back. Like, I get it. Was it delivered very well? No, they could have done a better job, but I get it. And it's always been a parallel between good and evil throughout this, and the effects of evil, the psychological effects. And Kills, it was on the town. In 2018 is the beginning. Kills is the town and how the people are affected, and Ends is the aftermath. And okay, when you don't have Michael, does evil really end? And the answer is no. As a society, it doesn't matter if it's Michael Myers, if it's Jason, if it's Freddy Krueger, if it's Chucky. There's always going to be something that wants to do horrible things. And I don't think in the end we're supposed to like or hate Corey. He's just a victim like everyone else. He just went the other end. But any one of those victims could have been killers themselves. The whole notion of vigilante justice is wrong within itself. But we cheer because Michael is bad, right? But ethically, is it right? No. It'd be like having a mob to just take care of everything. Then you have no law. You have no societal structure. So, like, I get it, and maybe I'm getting too philosophical and giving them too much credit, but that's what I take out of it, is that
philosophy under that cowboy.
it's like the notion of evil, and I think that, at least for me, they convey it. It might not be the best, but I get it. I get what they're going for. It's this notion that evil does not die, even if you don't have a Michael Myers, even if we end
She
it.
said it in the movie.
Yeah, they said it in the movie. Even if Michael Myers dies, there's always going to be somebody to carry that torch. And even though Corey dies, there's probably 20 Coreys waiting. And I think that's what his character is supposed to mean. That Michael Myers being weakened and whatever else, it was never about the battle with him after all. It was always this battle against good and evil. Is it possible to beat evil? Is it possible to win? And Jake, I know I got really deep with it. I'm not even sure that's the direction. And if I gave you guys a good idea, don't rip it off of me, because I'll come after you for plagiarism. But I mean,
yeah,
I'll
give you
it, because that's the threads that they've been leaving. Like, they even state it in the movie several times. Evil dies tonight. Can we kill evil? Does evil really?
Oh, your microphone fucked up.
Okay, so I didn't do that, by the way. But at any rate,
he's got mic issues.
At any rate, I understand what you're saying there, and there are clues hidden in this film. Like at the opening sequence, Corey bumps his head on the, when he's looking under the bed, he bumps his head. No reaction at all, absolutely none. So that kind of clues you into when he's doesn't feel pain later. That's consistent. So that brings into question: was he already this sort of evil person before? Did he always have it in them? Probably, because of what the movie is trying to tell you.
Too.
Yeah, I know it's a movie. That's what we're talking about.
What you're saying is literally said in the movie.
Yes, but
It's not
that
just like shown; it's said.
yeah, and that's something that I don't like as much. I don't like a movie telling me exactly what it is through dialogue. That just seems lazy to me. If you can't show it, show, don't tell. Isn't that one of the basic rules of filmmaking? Jake, you've made a movie, isn't that? Is it?
That's a big pet peeve of mine too. I agree. I hate when things are just spelled out to you in conversation, just because I feel like that's really lazy. There's so many more interesting ways to tell character development or thematic point, whatever. And that's another. Yeah, that's just you're just hitting on all the problems I have with Halloween Ends. I think the whole idea of evil changing shape, which is like a theme they attempt to like show in this movie. My big thing about that. I've heard the point been made that, like, going back all the way to Halloween 2018, the opening scene of that, you have Michael Myers, who, when he's presented with the mask by those podcasters, everyone starts freaking out, and there's like this aura around him. You get this sense that like there's this evil emanating from him or whatever, and that's kind of why the whole town is evil. Like, I've heard this theory that I'm going off of, that it's like that's why the whole town feels evil in this movie. It's because Michael's presence has been there for the past 4 years. I just don't think that's what this series it was all about. I don't know if that's something that fans were looking to see, and it's just a weird connection that a lot of us have drawn. And I just don't. Without any confirmation of anything being supernatural, I can't see any themes being placed from that. Does that make any sense? Like, because you don't explain anything from it, how can we draw a theme from that then? You know what I mean? There's no confirmation that anything is supernatural in this movie. It's only implied in certain parts of it. So how are we supposed to get a theme from that? It's just so it's really unobtainable. You know what I mean? You can't explain Michael Myers' mystique because that's what's so great about his character, but at the same time they're trying to implement all these theme shits and all of this like social commentary stuff that just doesn't work because you can't do the former. Does that make any sense?
I know, without giving confirmation to the age-old question, because that's like answering who's Joker. And like they've said, and I use the Joker analogy because I feel like it fits, and I love the Joker.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Oh, sure.
if we found out tomorrow, everybody of us who are fans of the Joker, right, who Joker definitely is, we'd be mad.
Arthur Fleck.
Exactly.
We want
Yeah.
to know, but we don't want to know. And it's the same thing with Michael Myers. If you find out he's Bob from Ace Hardware, that's it. Like, okay. So Bob went crazy and murdered people. It takes away that element. So, and I get what you're saying, Jake, because I feel like there is tangible evidence as far as the moral implication. There, it's even stated very clearly in every single movie. But I understand your point too at what you're getting at. There's, without definitively defining the character as being a supernatural thing causing this, then we can't land one way or the other. But
that thing kind of falls apart, right? You know? I don't know.
It falls apart. But at the same time, look at Dahmer, look at Gacy, look at any of these killers who have ever been, right? Even us people who Habitat Wisconsin, right? World famous serial killers here. Every area they have been to has been affected. And these aren't spiritual beings. These are real life sick bastards, right? But they did leave a presence. They did leave a hole. If you watch Dahmer and see those interviews to this day, and me and Justin talked about this, there were people who re-saw that and they were mad at Netflix because it brought it up. Not because it wasn't well done, not because it wasn't true, because they reopened that wound because it never heals. And I think you could very much use that in these movies. Do I believe he leaves this evil presence or that? No, I think those theories are stupid. But I do believe the commentary is like any serial killer. Okay, this is what Michael does. Making it as real world as we can, right? As if he was there was really a Haddonfield, he was really there. What would be the effects? And I think they hit it spot on.
I think they
heal from this.
I
don't recover.
I get what Zod. I get what I see what you're saying, but like just any implication of a supernatural presence isn't going to take me down that road. Does that make sense? Like I feel like just there's no confirmation that it's actually a thing in these movies, but there's so much implication that would guide you down that route. That it's like, oh, all of this means some kind of big supernatural thing. That doesn't go anywhere, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like because you even have that established, because you even have characters talking about that being a possibility, and that's why it doesn't. That's why it falls apart for me personally. Like I totally get what you're saying about the real world implications, something that this whole trilogy is very focused on. But it doesn't work for me because you have him taking shotgun blasts to the chest and being fine, and he's like this 70-year-old man. If it wasn't for all of that, that would work for me. If this was absolutely grounded in reality and like he had a bulletproof vest on or some bullshit like that, okay, like that could work. I think that's why it doesn't though, is because like there's this undeniable question about, is he supernatural? And it's something you're made to think about it as these movies progress, and it's not really, you can't really focus on that element of it while you have this going on as well. That's my problem with it, but I see what you're saying, and I do appreciate that angle. Like does that
No.
Is that a good compromise to? Is that a good compromise to this?
What you're saying makes 100% sense too, because when you go down that road, like when he kills that one person and it looks like he's gaining power from killing someone, that confused me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
then you have
when he has that assist kill on the Mulaney.
By the way, that was
and
my
then he's
favorite
like
when he pinned her against the.
And he's having a seizure or something, like while it's happening. I'm like, what is going on?
I thought at the beginning when he started killing people again, he was like getting energy from them.
Yeah, see, that's how I took it too.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
And then he like stood up tall. He's like, oh, I feel
it's
pretty good
right.
now.
No, you're absolutely right. There's this implication that he is supernatural and he transcends as he kills. That's even a line from the previous movie. That's never confirmed. Just to make that clear, that's never confirmed that he's supernatural, and they make a big point to that. But that's why the real world stuff kind of fails to hit for me, is because you have all that going on. At the same time, though, I can see looking past that to make it work. But me personally, that's just my opinion.
I can't believe we have a celebrity in the chat.
Yes, Chucky, I'm your biggest fan. Hit me up. If you guys don't know, okay, a series I have personal ties, because I told everyone, like, I'm not personally invested in Halloween at all. I've always been a Jason fan. Me and Justin, Jason boys, can't
thank you
all day.
Thank you.
And so this isn't a big hit for me. But if they mess up Jason and Chucky, then we're having a different conversation. So I
same thing with Scream.
And I even get the casual viewers who were led on this journey. Like, I get it. And that's what's hard for me when debating, because it's very hard to defend this movie. I'm so glad PB's on board, because like, I get the complaints. Like it for me, I described it like this. It was very weird. It was very weird writing, weird choices. Like, I'm all for being bold, but it's like I use this analogy. It's like you have the big game, right? And they still get to the end of the game. They still win, but there's stupid calls along the way. And you're like, why did you run the ball when you should have passed it?
Exactly. Why did you wait 40 minutes for Michael Myers to show up? Almost as much time as it took Han Solo to show up in The Force Awakens. That made me mad. We are all here to see this character. We're here to see Laurie too, but maybe take a little less time to get to Michael. That's kind of what we've been speculating and we've been wondering about. I have
never watched a single Halloween movie to see anybody with the last name Strode. Ever.
Wait, what?
All of the Halloween movies that I watched was to see Michael Myers doling out that fucking justice.
And that is why Kills was one of my favorites. It did everything that I wanted it to do. Everything that I wanted 2018 to be. A bloodbath, and a fun one that made me laugh along the way. That's all I wanted.
This is not an epic movie.
Well, maybe there's maybe in this trilogy there at least is a movie for somebody, for Halloween fans, whether it's 2018.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you want to be. That is a nice mug, by the way.
It's a vase. Thank you. No.
Is it?
No.
I see that. That's a great mug. Oh
You're
man.
telling me that you watch the Halloween movies to see Laurie Strode?
In 2018, Halloween Kills. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy characters. I enjoy seeing how
I'm
they
not saying I
progress,
don't
how
enjoy
they grow.
characters, but I'm here for the fucking main event, man.
Oh, as am I. I'm here for both.
I
You
don't
can
give
be
a
there
fuck
for
who's
both.
pitching when Babe Ruth is up to bat.
That makes sense. However, Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis is the ultimate final girl, and I'm excited to see where they take her. Halloween 2, I didn't like it as much as everyone else, but I did enjoy it. H2O, I loved. Resurrection, I'm sorry, Halloween Dark Fate was absolutely appalling.
Please don't bring up Dark Fate. You know how I feel about that movie.
Yeah, they kill off Laurie in the first 5 minutes. That's a slap in the face. But
that's why I call it. Yeah, I get the analogy.
But this one I think paid a lot more respect. Even though you could argue why is Laurie acting? Why do these events in 1978, 40 years later, still affect her? Yet 4 years later, after her daughter was murdered, she's kind of content with life. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, she's completely changed her modus operandi, and I was like, why?
I don't mind it, but I don't understand it.
Especially when you know that he's just like out there.
He's still.
It's not like he was sitting in prison the whole time. You're like, well, I know where he is. He's just fucking out there. He's watching you through the windows right now.
As nice as it is to see an optimistic Laurie Strode, I would almost have rather have seen a more scared, pessimistic, like terrified. Like, I'm trying to think, what's the word for like when you're trapped inside? Recluse. Well, a more more recluse version of Laurie Strode, who just won't even go outside because she's so terrified in this version of it. I feel like that would have hit a little harder to see that version of Laurie Strode ultimately conquer Michael Myers personally.
I wanted
that would have.
They did like a mini training montage in the previous one, right?
In 2018,
of her setting up the house and showing all her weapons off and practice shooting, all that stuff. I want to see that times 10. Be like every time that she's in a scene, she'd be like one of those preppers, just talking about how they prep.
Is that why there were mentioning? What have you mentioned? Not even wanting to go outside. That made me think. Wasn't it true that David Gordon Green was considering putting the pandemic into the storyline? I had heard rumors
think
about
that was just a rumor. I'm going to say because nothing about the pandemic was
okay. Well, I'm glad if that was ever on the table, then it was completely scrapped. Thank God.
Yeah, we don't need look, I'm so tired of this topic. We don't need any more of these. Like, I'm going to go see the Kevin Williams.
You don't want to hear how the people who made this movie have TDS.
Oh no! Well, we're not even going to go down that road. By the way, I got multiple hats out, Jake, and now I can't even wear this Budweiser hat anymore. No, maybe I'll build it up later, like you did earlier with the cat in the hat.
Justin, can I ask you a question about something on your set?
Mm-hmm.
It appears that you have two dolls eating each other's asses out. I've been staring at it the whole time, and I'm just now saying something about it.
That is Bob Ross, and he's painting himself.
So that's what we call it nowadays. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
Do you want me to change it up? I can.
No, I love it. That's why I said something about it. That's why I said something about it.
I think I need to make a montage of people asking me about that because, oh my goodness, I think almost every single person who's been on the panel has mentioned it in one way or another.
Right,
I won it at a theme park by winning one of those games where you throw the ball and it lands in that one purple circle and then you get the big prize. I wanted Bob Ross. I wanted it and I got it and I was so happy.
How many people have asked you about this when it wasn't on your channel though? Because it's not like your set changes when you go someplace else.
When it's it happens to me on and
that's
off
what I'm saying.
channel.
You'd have to go searching if you wanted to get everyone in there.
I make sure to put all of my appearance in a playlist. I always want to look back and see how I've
fallen
progressed.
so far behind doing that. I don't want to talk about it.
You
Let's
know
talk
what's
about this
sad is
crap-ass
that we're
movie.
so used to being around each other that whole scenery is normal to us. So
It's all normal
you're
to
well
me.
adjusted. We're so
We're desensitized.
No one even mentions the parrot that's coming out of little Bob Ross's ass.
No.
So it gets even crazier. Okay.
It,
all right.
it
Bar for the
does.
corks.
It does. There's a lot of things in people's backgrounds that you can nitpick. I don't know if you could see it up there. That's Richard Dreyfuss, who signed a photograph for me. That was pretty cool.
A photograph
usually
for what?
I like to change it up a bit. So yeah. And somebody thought it was James Bond by the guitar with the popcorn sign. No, that's Indiana Jones. They thought it was Sean Connery. I'm like, you're close, but you know.
I have a full life-size Nicolas Cage who joins my streams. So we all got our.
Is he there now?
Oh yeah, he's standing off to the side. Oh, I saw a full-size Black Adam. So now I talk to someone, and I'm gonna get the stand-up of Black Adam, and I'm gonna have him facing Nicolas Cage, so they can have back and forths.
Well, that's pretty funny. That was a nice little. Okay, I do have a question though. We can see in Halloween Ends the Corey has a clear transformation, and when that happens is when the bully smashes glasses. So does that mean if you wear glasses, you're a good person? Because I'm all down for that. I mean, I want to be good again. I want to know.
I'm the villain on the panel, so I'm fine with no. Like, I'm literally General Zod. I'm rooting for Black Adam to kill everyone in this movie, so that's where I stand.
Did you guys find that odd at all? Like, no glasses means you're evil. Glasses means you're still good. I don't understand that. Like, why is
he had glasses and he was bullied?
I don't get it. Get it.
He's like, I'm gonna
get new glasses if it's gonna prevent you from killing people. I thought that was so silly. Is that a nitpick?
It's a trope as old as time, so I sympathize with it. I get it.
Yeah. Sorry, Zod. All of us wear glasses, which means we're smart and we're not evil.
Whoa! Where'd the smart thing come? I have my philosophical moments here.
Yes, and it takes you 8 years to get to that.
The girl right outside of me was like,
okay. Jake, I don't know how long you've known Zod, but I've known him for about 3 or 4 years, and oh my goodness, we will sometimes bicker like an old married couple sometimes, and it gets amazing. By the way, the first time I saw you was on Zod's channel, and I was like, this guy. When I saw you on that channel, I was like, I have a vibe that this guy is an Ohioan because he's that nice and so and it actually, that conversation made me like Scream 5 a little bit more, because at first I was like, I am not a fan of this toxic fan thing. I'm like, no, you can't do this to us. But then Zod brings up a good point. No, they make fun of everything. And us YouTubers, we're represented as dead meat, so I can be okay with that. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you and appreciate that. I appreciated that appearance on his channel.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Because I don't know about Jake, but when I talked to him about it, I was like, even mentioning it was becoming one of those things. And at least Halloween Ends isn't on this level. So shout out, in all seriousness, shout out to the Halloween fan base, because while they're very passionate, there are certain groups that are just mean. And I don't know how you got on your channel, but when I gave a positive review for Scream 5, I had all of these people, and I'm like, look, I've watched these movies since the first Scream in the theater. Don't question whether I'm a fan just because I'm choosing to like this movie and you hate it. It was like, oh, turn in your fan card, because obviously you can't be a fan if you think this trash is good. And it's like,
that's right.
That's ridiculous. And PB, you know, as a Star Wars fans,
the
heated debates too. It's like, oh, well, you gotta like this or you're this and that. And it's like, no, you can. It's okay for us, like we're doing now, to have a debate.
and it to be
You can't
healthy
help but use that word.
and talked about
Yeah.
talk about it amongst friends. Shocker, spoilers, you can like something, they can dislike it. We could still all have a panel together. Isn't it crazy?
That's why I call this. I guess it's a new series now, a real conversation. I did this with Scream 5 with you and McBrooklyn, and it was all pretty even. I was on the fence. McBrooklyn hated it. You loved it, and it was a good conversation. And with this, I'm glad I didn't do this intentionally, putting like Jake and I on one side and Peepians on the other. But
yeah, you did.
No, Jake was the last one to come in, and then
Your guys' walls are even painted the same. They're just on opposite sides of the room.
This is just the paint it came with. Who am I to change it? It's an apartment.
The conspiracy unravels.
Oh, I know.
Ohioans.
I know. But yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point of this thing.
Ohio versus Wisconsin. Who will win?
Oh gosh. Yeah, pretty much. I do want to kind of get back to ends a little bit. There's a few things that I still have issues with.
Next issue.
Okay. This one hits me personally. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the marching band, but I did not believe for a second that these band geeks would ever it's not that band geeks can't ever do this, but I just found it very unbelievable. Like if they were like on I don't know, the debate team, I probably would have believed it a little bit more. But I mean seriously, like that almost offended me, because I'm like, this is not how we act, and this is how the movie felt to me in particular. This specifically, sorry, but marching band geeks, we were the ones who were shoved into lockers, who were made fun of. It's like, oh, you blow that horn pretty well and stuff like that. So I was like, what? No, now you're making them out to be bullies. No, like David Gordon Green, like I thought we were friends. We had great times together. We went on vacation together, not really, but I enjoyed you have to remember 2018 and Halloween Kills were my second and third favorite in the franchise. The first one, 1978.
Yeah, I know. Okay, continue. You can just.
So when this came out, I feel like it just threw that all away. And, in a way, I almost left feeling Halloween Resurrection at least has the balls to just be straight up in your face bad. And you had the chance, after Laurie Strode got thrown off of a building, to walk out of the movie theater and get a refund or exchange your ticket, because it's not getting any better after that. And this one was like a slow burn into realizing that, oh my gosh, this isn't going to pay off anything that the other two were going to do. It's like, which would I rather have? The bully that just talks smack to me in my face, or the best friend who stabs you in the back? Which one do you prefer? And this, as someone who was picked on in school, that's how I felt this movie was, to a lesser degree, but that's how it felt. That's why, Jake, I know you gave it a 1 out of 10, but even when you're being mean about a film, you're still you're still nice about it. I give this a 0. I seriously, I think it's worse than Resurrection just because of that. I don't know. That's what these last 5 days, that's what I've been trying to wrap my brain around, and that's the conclusion I came to.
For me, a 0. And I only
it would have been a negative 5.
I've given out a 0.
Shut up! I'm just making shit up.
But the 0 I've given out has been for like very specific things. She-Hulk, and a movie I'm sure no one on this panel or in the world has been stupid enough to see, this movie called The Cave. If you haven't seen it, then
The Cave.
Oh, that's classic.
No, I'm pretty sure we're not talking about the same movie, because you would not say that.
I feel like we are talking about the same movie.
It's a very bad horror movie.
Oh, okay, so you give out 0s not very often.
Not very often. The only other thing this year to receive my coveted 0 was She-Hulk. That there's been nothing else I could say that bad. So with that being said,
0.
how I grade is a 5 would be a middle of the road movie. For me, this was a 6. It wasn't great. It let me down on what I wanted to see as far as my expectations. But if we're talking about the filmmaking crafting, okay, my deductions would be story structure. And a couple of the kills were underwhelming. Sure, the DJ kill brought it back up when I saw that, and then it quickly dropped down for some other stuff we'll talk about at the very end that I thought was ridiculous. But and the Corey thing, like, look, David Green, just future note. If you're going to give people an hour and a half of a movie and not follow through with that subplot, then you're going to get a lot of angry people, because if you start something, even if they hate it, you damn well better pay it off, because then you just have this thing, and it's why we're largely debating, because the resolution sucks. He offs himself. Like, that's unsatisfying. You could have wrote that 150 different ways. Me and Justin came up with a ton of different ways that would have been far more suitable, and you still could have included him. But, you know, that aside, I would say this was a 6. And I mean, because I'm coming off of seeing Terrifier 2, which was like, I rewatched the first one and seeing the difference.
No, don't spoil nothing.
I know nothing about it. So
Bodies, which I thought did the social commentary way better. Like, there's so many different horror movies I've seen. It's been like literally half my top 10 list is probably going to be horror movies, because nothing normal has wooed me except for my number one. Spoiler, Nick Cage came out, so it's going to be The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I mean, greatest movie of the century. But anyways,
whoa,
come on, Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal.
I feel like put your mic fucked up, but you got to put that in the number 2 slot, guy. Don't you?
What would be number 1?
Morbius.
Oh, that's right.
It's Morbin time.
Damn,
Morbin time.
And thank you, Rob, for the unicorn super sticker. I greatly appreciate it. Rob has been a good friend of mine. We just chatted before the stream. He's such a great dude. There are not enough positive words of the English language to describe Rob. So
use some Mexican ones.
I should. If I could speak Espanol, I would definitely do that. But yes, thank you so much, Rob. I greatly appreciate it. Man,
yeah, like I was saying, in the scale of horror movies we've got, this is far below. I mean, like, just taking look, Pearl to me was so Jake. No, and I know we're on the same wave. Like, Pearl was and I'm not going to spoil it, but it was a masterpiece.
That's the sequel to X.
Me and Bitchy talked about the last shot of that movie. We still talk about it. It is the most amazing thing. And it's just like, when you take stuff like that and put it up against this, there's not even a comparison. So, like, I get it. Like, this was so amped up. And I mean, let's put something into the panel right now.
Okay, are you done talking about Pearl? Because I don't want to know anything about it.
You're not.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, how many of us are grading on a curve because maybe we had higher expectations? I mean, can we say, like, this was pretty hyped up? So some of us, I feel, might be a little bit more let down because we had sky high hopes, and that does play a part. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I am super excited to see Black Adam.
That better not disappoint me.
Yeah, so, like, if I go into that and we have a David Gordon Green situation, we'll call it now, and like Black Adam saves puppies and nothing happens that's been hyped.
Hey, what's wrong with saving puppies?
He doesn't save puppies. He obliterates them. He's an anti-hero.
No.
Anyways.
Now I'm not going to see it if puppies are going to be harmed. No.
But anyways, I think, too, that some of the grading, especially for the hardcore fans, it's on this, like, curve. And can we blame the directors? Yeah, because when you make two good movies that everybody likes, or we'll say for Kills, people were split on ridiculous things that I didn't understand.
Really?
But when you have a general consensus that both these movies are so great, then yeah, there's going to be a curve there. They should have expected it, and they even said they were going to unusual places.
Yeah, there
and
was
I
a curve
think that
down.
yeah,
I'm down
it's
for
a
that,
very-
but as long as it makes sense and connects to the other movies, I'm fine with that. But look, I get it. Maybe I'm being a little too emotional about it because I am being slightly hyperbolic. Like it didn't actually offend me personally. It did too with the marching band stuff a little bit. But
oh yeah, I felt a little BS. Like I thought,
Yeah.
like out of every bully in the world you could pick, I had friends in marching band. I can tell you right now, it's closer to American Pie than it is this movie.
oh gosh.
Zod, I will say this, like I gave it a 1 out of 10 at first because I really only had a few good things to say. Yes, PB, which I'm assuming stands for peanut butter. But
Yes,
yeah,
it does.
no, good. Okay, well now we know. So no, I gave it a 1 at first. After watching it 3 more times, I probably give it like a 3 out of 10. I don't know if I'll go higher than that. Once again, I feel like the John Carpenter's, I can't even say like, yeah, the John Carpenter score is fucking awesome because there's just not enough of it for me to really get into it. I feel like there's really only like 2 times where I feel like it stands out a lot and it's like really cool. And compared to the previous 2 movies where it's fucking awesome and it's so like it immerses you into that world, like how it does in 78, 2018 and Kills. It's just not the same here. But I also just feel like there's just so many things missing from this movie in particular that are so present in the other 2. We were talking about like the comedy aspect, which is so nice. It's such a nice flavor in those first 2 David Gordon Green movies, and it's just heavily missing here. There's not too many comedic moments that hit for me in Ends. That was a big thing. The kills, there barely was any kills. It lost a lot of the good things from the previous 2 movies, and I get going for something new and all that if you have a better idea, but this just simply wasn't that to me. I said in my review, a big point was I just can't award lazy filmmaking for much. I think that's one of the worst things you can do as a filmmaker. I think about how I'm busting my ass on this Scream fan film. We're making a 90-minute movie for $5,000, which is very near impossible. That's not, if I didn't have the friends I had, it just wouldn't be possible. Simple as that. And I just think about like if I was put in a position like David Gordon Green to make this movie for millions of dollars, I just wouldn't have. I would have taken the time to have put a better story in there. And that to me is why I rated it so low at first. I see so many little lazy elements in this. There's too many writers. 4 writers attached to anything is never a good sign. There's so many big negatives that heavily outweigh the positives for me. That's why I gave it, I put it down so low. But there are some really nice technical things about the movie, which is why I gave it a slightly higher score, but I don't see myself liking it any more than that. 3 out of 10 is like my final verdict on it. That's just my opinion. I'm really glad though that a lot of people have there's a lot of people out there who really like it. I've seen people rank it as their top spot from the entire franchise. That's
I want to see their reviews.
All the power to them. I'm glad that they found. I said this to a buddy of mine. I was like, I'm glad that collection of images brought you some joy. Like, I'm really glad. It makes me happy that people loved this movie, but it just was not for me personally.
Yeah. The movie that was. I understand that entirely. The movie that was for me was Halloween Kills. That was my movie. That's the one I wanted to see, and I'm so happy. I am thankful that I got my one, even if it's just one.
Is Halloween Kills 15 out of 10 then?
I mean, maybe.
I rated it like 9 for me, and people thought I was being ridiculous. Yeah. But honestly, like when you start your movie with killing what I'm going to assume is the whole fire department.
Haddonfield is not a big town.
With multiple weapons.
With multiple and the best. And like, yeah, you know, I might bring it down to a 5 because when you bring up that point, there is a thing with it where when I think about Kills and that POV shot where you see through the fireman's eyes,
yes,
is so creative because it's using a mixture of techniques that are used in like say found footage and things like that, only way better. You're not getting nausea from watching the whole thing. So
or Saving Private Ryan for that matter, when you're seeing Tom Hanks's perspective, you know, of all the shit that's blowing up around him, you know, that's
Thomas.
Yeah, like you could see so much, like I get it. I mean, And if I'm thinking about it realistically, if I was to take every movie that I've watched, would I come back to this? I did for this review for, just for argument's sake. But to be quite honest with you, I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching 2018 and Kills. This one, knowing what I was going into, it gets a little bit tougher. And that's when I know, like, if I can't come back to a movie, that's where I kind of have to go a little bit lower, because I don't see myself like watching this like every Halloween. This isn't a movie I'd pop in over like The Thing or the original Halloween or hell, Friday the 13th. Like I watched The Descent the other day. This is like my 19th time watching that movie.
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
The Descent.
The Descent.
Oh, I thought you said The Set for some reason. I was like, what's The Set? The Descent. Oh my gosh. I love the alternate ending.
Excellent. And writers can't figure out how to write female characters. Watch The Descent. Perfect example. Everybody's likable. You fill every kill because you don't want any of them to die. And the betrayal. Oh my God. You see it coming a mile away. But the betrayal between two friends, and she sticks that in her leg and leaves her to die. Mwah, that's filmmaking right there. Like,
I love it.
Oh my God. And I saw
should have had this thing at the bottom.
Look, if I'm spoiling The Descent for you, why?
How old is this movie?
It's about it's over 17 years old, I think.
I want to say 2004. 2004 came out. 2005.
I feel old.
I'm probably the least horror fan of everybody here.
You can watch it on Amazon now. It's for free. They got 1 and 2.
I mean, I'm sure I can, but I'll probably be busy rewatching Iron Man.
Yeah. I know your love for Tony Stark, Captain America Forever. Anyways,
coming back for Secret Wars.
Captain America is a war hero. Okay, we're not going to
give a fucking. Nobody cares about fucking Captain America. It's a woman now.
Everybody cares. When Captain America was frozen? Okay, we're not going to get off track.
No. I'm okay. All right, you guys, you got to stop this. Enough of that. Enough of that. But I forgot where we were going with this. What was your original point, Todd?
My original point is that in conjunction to everything that came out, I rate this a 5 or a 6. I mean, given that I won't rewatch it again, probably like a 5.5, somewhere in there. I don't consider this a bad movie technically. Like, there is some weird choices. There's a very odd writing path, but it said Halloween Ends on the poster. Technically, they ended it definitively.
It wasn't false advertisement. I'll give you that.
You paid for Halloween Ends, and Halloween Ends. And I said this in my Kills review. I paid to see Halloween Kills. Michael Myers kills a lot of people. I don't feel gypped. It was. Now, did it end satisfyingly? That's up for debate. But it did.
No, it's not.
No one can do it. There's no way. If you look, don't bring him back. If you bring him back, it will be the stupidest thing ever. Because there is nothing you could tell
How
me.
do you do that? You can't.
Like,
you pull out the bottle of Elmer's and get to work.
like literally, you see his brain come out of his skull. Like,
oh yeah.
It's a definitive ends, and I give them respect for at least having the balls so we couldn't question if he could come back. This wasn't like, not only did they bleed him out old school, but then they threw him in a car crusher. Like,
I was expecting, I almost expected Michael to grab Laurie's leg at first. Like, was that going to happen?
And pull her
in, and they both die. Like, I thought that was going to happen. I was anticipating it, but it didn't. And I was like, oh, thank God, because then I don't know. I don't know how I would feel. Like, would that have made it worse if he dragged Laurie in with him? How would you have felt, guys, if that had happened? Would that have?
I'm gonna be honest. That might have saved the movie for me. Like, hot take.
Really?
Just because of how wild that would be. Like how wild that ending is. That choice.
That was
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
supernatural, right? Wouldn't it? Like if he was bled out, drove through town, like there's no way a regular human could be alive, no matter how much adrenaline you put into him. And then to reach up after, do it, have him reach after the brain gets crushed. Just yank that bitch in there. Been like, boom, Michael wins. That's all he's been trying to do for 40 fucking
we would
years.
have had a definitive answer, because if you just see his arm reach up from the crusher, you would be like, okay, supernatural. Because then there's no argument. When someone's brain comes out of their skull and they still have the wherewithal to grab the person, yeah, then I would lean for, oh, he's Jason. But,
you know what? I would have bought it. Maybe. I don't know. When they talk about wacky and wild and having crazy decisions, that's sort of where my mind goes. Like that's a ballsy move, but I think a lot more people. Even though Jake, you might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I would have gotten a kick. I imagine so many people would have been so angry, like even more angry than they were originally.
My main reasoning for why I think that would be kind of cool is just because I feel like they throw away all of the emotional story that they set up in the last two films. So this would be so symbolic of that. So like to me, if they did that, all I could think was, okay, so they just didn't know where to go with this. They just wanted to give us a wacky ending. I'd be like, okay, that honest to God, I'd give it a 6 out of 10 if it ended like that. I'd be like, that doubles my review.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that I would have been a 9, because I would have been like, let me tell you about this movie. I watch it every year. I'd be like, perfect ending to
That's so ballsy. Like to me, that is like the ballsiest move they could have done. And like, I kind of respect that type of filmmaking, because it's just like, if you can make a crazy ass choice like that in a well-established franchise that is nearly 50 years old now, I mean, that's crazy to me. That's fucking nuts to have those kind of balls.
Yeah, and at least it wouldn't be a resurrection type of death, like where it's just stab, throw off the roof, like we're throwing away everything. That's H2O setup.
And that's
but
weird. They play it safe with Laurie. Like now that we're talking about it, yeah, like this wouldn't be a resurrection situation if we already have this kind of crazy ride. Last minute stinger, he grabs her, and then it's like. Then you like I agree with peanut butter up there. Then you have
I see what you did there. Jake clearly saw what I did. I see what you did.
I saw the panel had converted, so I had to
you
had to change it up.
You wanted to stand out on your own. I understand that.
But yeah, it's just
I thought he was gonna change it to proper general peanut butter.
It's a good option too.
But I mean, it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's a sense in this movie of, and I get this feeling of wanting to be bold, but being afraid. And look, I'm going to be honest. I blame the harsh criticism from Kills, because it feels like they tried to appease
it's the harsh criticism from lack of kills. Said, what,
No.
there's 4 of them
I
that are
think
off
that's
screen?
the least of their concerns.
No, because they took in that criticism. They changed a whole script. So you got to imagine
Did they
that.
though? Did they?
Wait, you think? Hold on. You
Was
think
it because
there were
of
less
kills?
kills in the original?
No, I'm saying Halloween Kills. There was a split, and we even argued with people who were talking about how terrible it was, right? And some people really like it, some people really hate it. No, it's true. There is a division of people with that movie Kills, and I think that they looked at it and they said, okay, what can we do that'll bring everybody back for this last film and bring everybody to the middle of the road, but that we could also go completely crazy and do our own thing without pissing everybody off. So they're like, okay, we leave Laurie alive because everybody loves Laurie Strode, but we definitively kill Michael. That way Halloween ends. They killed Michael. They kept Laurie, and she gets to see cherry blossoms. I mean, how could you not want Laurie Strode to see cherry blossoms? That was adorable. Come on. My man brought her vegetables. I'd never bring bitchy vegetables. She'd look at me weird. But...
No, she'd fucking stab you.
Yeah. That'd be a real
like,
Halloween
where's
situation.
the fucking steak guy? I know there was a steak. What the fuck are these?
Oh man! By the way, Jake, this is a tamed down version of Zod's regular channel. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but oh my goodness, we were on our best behavior. Let me tell you that. But yeah. To kind of go off of what you were saying, Zod. I really do think that it was very unfortunate that a lot of people. I understand why people didn't like Halloween Kills. I don't get it. I don't agree.
I don't understand.
Okay, I guess none of us understand it. But
No.
I do understand, like the Canto Bite equivalent of the mob mentality, and the hospital scenes and this side plot with the escape mental patient, the extra one who had the umbrella in the first one. I'll call him Umbrella Guy. Umbrella Guy. I get it. But even with that, at least there was a good payoff to it. I mean, that death when you're seeing him jump off the building and it shows everything and it splatters and he's like twitching still because he's still kind of alive. That's messed up to me. And I was like, oh wow, at least that had that good payoff. With Corey, we did not have that at all. It was so underwhelming. That's why even the fight that was advertised in the marketing I felt like that wasn't earned. I don't feel like anything that was leading up to it was earned whatsoever. There was a lot of payoffs in Kills that came from 2018. I mean, Cameron's story arc, my God, I hated him in that first film, but you were supposed to. But then he's, walking with his high heels in his hands and, he helps save Hawkins, which is amazing. And it kind of like, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I misjudged you. Maybe you are a good person inside and you want to help. You just got drunk and made a bad mistake. All right, whatever. But he goes out of his way to, and to see that actor. Oh my gosh, the fear in his eyes when he's in the Myers house. I think, was it the Myers house or yeah?
At the end of Kills, yeah.
It was really. It was. I felt his terror there, like the look on his face, like that is me. Like, I know I crap on ghost movies and how, like, oh my gosh, the door's opening, blah blah blah, and it doesn't translate on screen very well. I think it's ridiculous. I think they're funnier than they are scary. But if I'm actually in that situation, that is exactly how I act. I am scared. I would not have even gone in the house. I would have ran out when there was a little creak. I'm like, nope. Goodbye. I am running, screaming, panicking. So, when you have all of these different elements that are very clearly defined in these two movies, when you bring this one in, and I can't feel that same thing, like, of course it's going to be a letdown. Do I think it really deserves a 0? Probably not. I would probably. I'm even gonna, I'm going to go with Jake as well. I'm not going to go with a 3. I will go with his original 1. I will go with the 1 because there are some things that I don't mind about it, but it still hurt at the end of the day. It still hurt.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
You're rating the movie off of how much
like
it hurt
5.5 because I won't rewatch this again, but if I'm looking at it from how I objectively rate films, was it aesthetically bad? No. Did it meet the requirements for the tagline? Yeah, that motherfucker ended. Like, it's ended. Like, if you try to resurrect this series, you're an idiot. I don't know how you're gonna bring Michael back.
Halloween H50.
Look, Jamie Lee, please let her retire. Like, she can't fight Michael anymore, man.
You never know.
Dude, when her head bashed against that refrigerator, I said, Jesus Christ, is she okay? Like, he's...
No, let's...
where was his Michael energy throughout the movie? Yeah.
So, I don't know exactly how many times you'd probably have to add it up over the course of 40 years, but Laurie Strode has CTE. 100%.
What is that?
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's the thing that all the NFL players get because they take one too many hits to the head.
All right, if that's the case, what does Michael have?
Oh God, dude!
I mean,
the
two
advanced
fingers, two
case.
fingers.
He's got the advanced case.
Yeah, and
I think he kills on autopilot. Like, my God,
I don't know, man. Like, he don't kill on autopilot when he made that black chick dressed as a nurse shoot herself.
That was self-defense.
Yeah, that
if I was Michael's lawyer,
awesome.
I would take that off.
Where were those kind of kills in this movie?
Yeah, and
that's what we were saying. That's what we've been saying. When like the three kills off screen, why?
You go from being amped up the entire time because here's the little secret. I watched Halloween Kills before I watched Halloween. So I watched all of Halloween Kills. I was like, this is a fucking great movie right here. I should probably watch the first one. So then I went back and watched the first one. Then we're going through the movie, and I was like, holy fuck, that's how he ends up in the fire? It was great. And then this one, like, I don't hate it the way that you hate it, but it's still a letdown. Because if you're going from a 9 down to a 6, that's a letdown. And I rated a 6 because I still have fun with the movie the same way that I still have fun with the Batman. But both movies make their main character look like a fucking moron.
We will always disagree, and how dare you slander the good name of Mr. Patterson? That movie was brilliant. Daniel was brilliant, and I don't appreciate your opinion, sir. We've been debating this. I still can't for the life of me. Look, Bitchy, every now and again, just plays the movie to hear the roar of the engine. For that
that's why it's a 6.
Just that alone is a 10 out of 10.
It's the same reason why Halloween is a 6.
So I
because
don't understand your crazy rankings.
Like I didn't have a problem.
Too, Jake.
I didn't have a problem not seeing Michael Myers in the first scene because of what was happening. I had a problem not seeing him for the next 25
hour and a half
minutes. I was like, he should have been the first fucking thing that you seen. I don't care what's going on. Just have him sit up and then cut away. Just so I see him.
Okay, I can agree. Like, I get the absence of Michael Myers, but at the same time, like, here's what confuses me about this whole debate, and especially
that Batman did. Like, Batman was letting everyone get murdered, and Michael Myers is supposed to be doing the murder, and he's not doing the murder.
Hey, Batman was in every scene, though. Anyways.
all right. Enough of the stupid Batman talk. So,
anyways, I'm sorry. We'll always have that debate because it's on my top 10, and PV gave it a crazy rating. I'm sorry. This is just a personal thing. But anyways, with this movie, I get the absence, but here's the thing I find confusing. Every Halloween fan, I'm sure we've all heard it before. They all get upset. They're like, we want something different. We want something fresh, whatever. Well, this is a pretty different choice. It's a pretty interesting way to do it, especially in your third movie. It is a very unique thing. It has a pretty unique spin on the whole concept of evil. So, like, just by that standard, like, we all see Michael Myers every single time in Halloween. Like, yeah, I know it's his franchise, but isn't it okay to kind of put him in the background? I take him being shelved over Laurie, because Laurie is an actual living, breathing person who has to interact with the world. And that was my only issue with Kills.
She don't have to interact.
Sidelining her, like, I get it. She was injured from the night before. It takes place over one night. But like, completely sidelining her, that was weird to me. In this one, we got into her head. We got to see how she interacted. There was that cool connection between her and Corey that made sense to me, because it's like, yeah, they think I'm a freak. Like, I brought this evil when really I just warned you it was coming. And Corey was blamed for some stupid little shit who got in front of a door. Like, both of them had a bad deal. I think that's a intriguing parallel. I think it's an interesting thing to explore, to get away from that Michael just killed. Because really, let's be honest. How many people can Michael kill that you'll be satisfied, like, until it gets repetitive? Like, you have to have more meat on the bones than just Michael comes back. Michael kills everyone. Somebody stops him.
I need him to kill Jason Voorhees, and then I will be satisfied.
I will not hear that Jason Voorhees slanders.
I agree. Jason Voorhees is MVP, but see, me and Justin were talking about it, and I was saying I appreciated Friday the 13th one. Spoiler alert: there's no Jason in Friday the 13th. It's his mother. That's a very intriguing thing. It didn't have to be about Jason. I feel like when you get hyper focused on one thing as your mascot, you crave something different. But then when you get it, you're so conditioned to crave that one thing that all you want is that. And it's kind of unfair to the creator because then you're stifling their ability to bring something new. Like, look at Scream, for example. That was done better, but it was very creative because they weren't stifled by the notion of having one designated killer. You can have anybody as Ghost Mask, and it works.
Ghost Mask
or Ghostface. I'm sorry.
But Zod, you got a point though, because I feel like you don't want to put somebody in a box and you don't want them to just like have them, do the same thing over and over again, especially with Michael Myers, where we've seen this concept done a million times at this point. So I do appreciate like the idea of taking things down a different route, but I just think they focus a little too much on Corey, where he could have just been the catalyst to bring Michael Myers to Laurie Strode, because as we established in the last film, he's not directly going after Laurie. So like if they would have just had him get the mask somehow and then go to Laurie with it for whatever reason, you could have just had, bringing one thing to the other point. You know what I mean? That's all you had to do with Corey's character, and they ended up taking the entire movie to do that. So it rendered it kind of useless. But gentlemen, I do got to get going here in a second. So I'm probably going to peace out.
Yeah. We're about to wrap it up. Jake, thank you so much for joining us in this discussion. Yes, and it was an absolute pleasure being able to finally meet you. And I hopefully one day when I make it up down to your part of the Ohio area, then I will treat you to Slimans. I can't believe you never heard of it.
I'm very excited. I love me some sandwiches, so it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Take care, be well, everybody. Go check out Killjoy Jake if you haven't already. It's a really good channel, and it's honestly a breath of fresh air. Especially since we are in a fan base that came from Star Wars, and a lot of people are just saying horrible things, horrible, like this is bad, all of this is bad, and I'm like, and this kid from Ohio was like, I like this is great, and I'm like, oh, thank you, a breath of fresh air. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on. We're gonna wrap it up now, and if you got to go right now, that's cool. Peace out, man. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Nice talking with you guys.
Okay. See ya.
Later.
Peace.
All right. PV, what do you got going on?
Oh, I got Jake to name himself after me, so I won the stream.
Okay. And Zod?
So tonight I am going to see Black Adam, but because of legal reasons, I can't review it until tomorrow. So I will have probably in the morning, because they ain't gonna watch my channel anyway. So tomorrow morning I'll probably have a non-spoiler thoughts, opinions, and whether or not I'm still high off the experience of Black Adam. I can't wait. I'm going to see it in about an hour. I don't have a Black Adam t-shirt. I really feel underprepared, but yeah, that'll be my next review. And then I'm going to do a review on The Descent and The Descent 2 and a bunch of Halloween stuff leading up to my Terrifier 2 review, because oh boy, probably one of my favorite, very close to being probably my favorite horror movie of this year. So I will do an in-depth spoiler review, because by then it would have already been out on VOD, hopefully, and you guys can check it out because it's amazing. And there's more kills, way more kills, and more graphic.
All right.
So go see it.
Yeah, and tomorrow I got This Week in Bullshit, 7 p.m. Eastern. Check it out on my channel. All right. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys all coming out. Yeah, by the way, this is if Jason Blum had if I were Jason Blum and David Gordon Green presented me this script, let's just put it this way. This is what I would have done. That's about it. At any rate, take care, be well, guys. See ya.
Well, thanks to the lame ass security, I'm going home.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do.